Hi there, I'm Andrea Garvey and I'm currently with Périgord Retreats and we're in the south of France and we are having the time of our lives, and right now we are in the most amazing poppy field you will ever see. So we have been driving to different excursions, going to the most beautiful locations to paint. I'm with the most amazing artists behind me and we decided we need to paint this poppy field. So we are painting and we're looking around at different ideas of what we want to sketch. So in this video, you're going to see our thumbnails, how we get our designs, a little bit of our watercolors, and make sure you watch the end because we have a little funny bit to show you. So the first thing that I love to do when I go and paint on location is I love to make a little thumbnail in our sketchbooks. So that could be with a pen or a pencil. And so what a thumbnail is I want you to think about your composition for your bigger painting. So if you look around this meadow, there are so many angles. You can move your chair slightly and come up with a different scene that you want to paint. So you want to pick your painting. You can do multiple thumbnails and then figure out which one you want to put on our good paper. All right, so if I'm here, I'm looking this way and I see this really cool barn and all the stonework and then a row of poppies in the front. I see the white flowers in the back. And that itself would be a great painting, and you just want to take that and put some lines down on your sketchbook. You could move over here, and right ahead of us, we have the barn. That's sort of like a rundown barn, but it's the dark brown is really pretty with the poppies right here. If I was doing a sketch, I probably would not draw the barn to the left. I would just use that one barn and the tree and the fence. That would be really pretty. And then over here, you have our poppies in the foreground, and then going down, you have all of these rolling hills. So just any of these directions would make a great painting to start. And when you're doing your sketch, I don't want you to think too much about all the details. It really is just about finding the big objects that you want to paint and putting it into a composition that looks pretty good, that you're like, oh, I like the way that barn is and the poppies, and then we're going to bring that over to our painting. Okay, does that sound good? Any questions? One other thing that you can paint when you're in the fields is right in front of you, you can do the flowers. You don't have to do the big vista. And one of the things that I love about this type of painting is it can be anything you want. You could be sitting here on location. Sometimes you see things in a completely different way. The wind's blowing, it smells good, you got fresh air, you have new eyes, and you might see something completely different than if you saw it in a photograph. So just be inspired, and we're gonna have fun, and we just wanna first start with our sketch, our little thumbnail. This is just a really quick, very fast sketch of what I wanna draw, and I put into composition. So my goal is to have the flowers be big, slowly get smaller, slowly get smaller. I have a rolling hill, barns, bushes, rolling hills all the way back. So here's the thing, I drew this standing up. So because when you stand up, you actually see a little bit more. So you can also paint standing up. You could go back and sit down and work on your painting, whatever you're comfortable doing, but there's different angles as you move your body around. This is a quick sketch. I will not paint on it, but I could when I go back home if I wanted to add my colors. You guys could add swatch colors next to it, like Dom is doing. You can look at the colors in front of you and decide. You've obviously got the red poppies. That should be your center, your focal point. You've got beautiful different colored greens, some purple. You have your brown barns. The clouds couldn't be better. They're perfect to paint. Blue sky, lots of hills in the back. When I'm painting the back hills, I'll go a little darker, and sometimes I'll even make my hills a little purple, just to kind of break up some of the greens. The more you look at what you see out here, the more colors you're going to find. So for now, I would just think about what colors do you really want to use on your painting. Do a little swatch if you'd like. Work on those. Okay, so ta-ta! His name was Patrick Mignard. Is that how you say his name?
Mignard.
Yeah. Say it louder.
Mignard.
Mignard. He was amazing. So, but you can see, if you guys can see this little postcard, his poppies, I'm sorry, were really big, and they were in the front, and then he had a scene in the back. It may not be exactly what he sees with his eyes, but he's using this as inspiration. That's the most important thing that I want you guys to take away. This is a field of flowers that I did that's more abstract. You know, it's just a whole bunch of flowers. And here's another one that is more abstract, but it's taking the field that you're in to come up with your ideas and your the way you want to paint your flowers. Okay, and when we get into it and we start working on the background in the sky, I'm happy to help you guys with that. Like the clouds, you couldn't have asked for a better day to paint clouds. I have my little sketch of what I want to do. That's right here in front of me. I'm going to use this for reference of how I want my hill, where I want my hills. So I'm just using watercolor pencils. You can use any pencil, you can use a regular pencil, but these are watercolor pencils because then I could blend them into my design. So I'm going to start by putting the horizon line in. Nothing fancy, just my line, but what I really want to do is make these poppies really big. So this is just really a sketch for reference, but I'm going to go ahead, look what I'm doing. I am over, what do you call it? I am making these poppies bigger than they are because I'm making more of a whimsical piece. So I'm just doing some very loose poppy shapes. I'm even looking at some poppies that are right here by my feet, not necessarily straight ahead. As my poppies go closer to the hills, I'm going to make them smaller. And because these poppies are wild, they're all mattered everywhere, so there's not really an order to them. There's also some really pretty purple flowers. Now you don't have to use different color watercolor pencils. I just am because I'm gonna make some of these purple flowers and remind myself that they're purple. All right, next I'm going to pop in this barn. There's a bunch in front of me, but I really just want to put a couple and get in the roof. You see more trees in the horizon, smaller. Then I'm going to put in these hills back here. There's like 5 or 6 different hills I can pop in. You can use your imagination. You can take away things. You can add things. It's all fun. But the most important thing when I'm doing this field is I want to make sure most of my poppies are in because I'm going to paint around the poppies. So the red will really be vibrant. If I just painted this whole thing green and tried to put poppies on top with watercolor, it wouldn't work. It would turn to mud. And poppies are not muddy. Some of these big ones right here, I might actually put in the center. And later I'll add a little black and yellow. I usually don't draw in my sky because I keep that very fluid and I just kind of mush around some blues. So I don't draw in my clouds. I leave them the way they are, just plain, and then I'll just add them. But maybe I'll put in a couple windows on the barn. There's a window right there. And there it is. Just kind of give it a little look. Now I had two barns in here, but I just didn't want that to be completely centered. So I just eliminated it from my sketch. There's a really cool like horse trail, fencing over there, even though I don't see it from this vantage. Maybe I'll add it, see if that stays or not. And then I might add a tiny bit more trees back here. There's a lot of really cool trees. Just so it's not completely flat across, I want to pay attention to the tree line. Makes it more interesting. It's not flat across. Okay, so that's all I need on that. And now I'm going to start making my red. So even though I'm trying to get these layers of red for right now on location, I'm just going to put in my first layer, and then maybe when I'm back at the ranch, back in my studio, I'll add some more. But I want to go in, and when I'm working with watercolors, I hold the little pan and I'm just going to dip in. And even though I have a line right there, I'm just going around it very loosely. This color will be an undercolor, and then I'll add more as it dries. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah?
My legs fell asleep.
Okay. Like, look over there at that barn. I'm sorry, you might have to cut that part. But, like, look at the sky and how dramatic it is. You know, like, that's just beautiful. That could be a little raindrop coming on us, too, which would be awesome.
I don't want it to be too symmetric.
Oh, I got you. So I just kind of like plop them so it's not even.
Yeah.
So maybe like do clusters of 3 little purples to 1 big poppy.
Yeah.
Like, look, do you see how this is like 3 or 4 little guys?
Yeah.
So do them smaller for sure, and maybe do a little cluster of 2 or 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. yellow?
Yeah, I kind of go like a lighter color on my poppies just to get them down. And I'm looking at I'm painting right now like the way background, and then I'll come back and I'll do the light green.
But do you recommend pink, then yellow, then red, or just pink and red?
I don't do any yellow.
Okay, pink and red.
I do like a light color red or a light color pink or a light color orange, just something light, and then I add some of my red on top of that once it's dry.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now, like Dom, I'm gonna do some purple flowers too. So I'm gonna paint those before, just a couple, before I do the green. Oh, really? Yes, I'm going to leave it out. I'll do everything first, all first, and then I'll add more details. We're working with Patrick. He's a little opposite. As he paints, he does his, white strokes and everything at once. No, he blends. Yeah, he's good for that. You can try your red. Yeah, add to it. You can. Also, do you need your back? Do you need my back? And what you call Karen's like really good. Use your tongue on green. I stopped teaching you talking. All right, so I'm going to put in my sky.
Yeah, I saw that. That was on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Yeah. On the Wednesday.
Oh, that feels good.
Doesn't it? And you guys, when you get to do the sky, I really recommend you use a lot more water than you would with your flowers, because then you can get that nice, beautiful clouds that way. More water and just less paint for the sky, and then you can draw in your clouds, and then you'll see that they'll just be really fluid. I never look and try to paint my clouds exactly as I see them.